Civilization or Barbarism, an Authentic Anthropology by Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop. In Wolof, a Sinhalese language, the word Sat, grandson, descent, is an ancient forgotten feminine form. Indeed, Sat equals daughter in Egyptian. Thus, originally, the Wolof word, it seems, exclusively designated uterine descent through daughters. More precisely, in ancient Egyptian, Sent equals sister. In Wolof, Saint equals the proper name of the clan, which perpetuates the family line and is that of the mother, in other words, the sister of the uncle in the matrilineal system. It is through the sister that rights are transmitted and the race is perpetuated. According to Ibn Battuta, in the 14th century in Mali, men were not named after their fathers. None of them. The man is named after his uncle. Inheritance is collected by the sons of the sister of the deceased, to the exclusion of his own children. It happened during my stay in Mali that the Sultan became angry with the principal wife, the daughter of his mother's brother, not his father's, according to the text, cf. Legend of Sundiata, who was called Keika. The meaning of this word for blacks is queen. In the government, she is associated of the sovereign according to custom of the people, and her name is uttered on the throne jointly with the king. We also understand better now why the Egyptian term designating royalty etymologically means the man who comes from the south equals Niswit, Nyswt equals who belongs to the south equals who is native of the south equals the king of Egypt, not only the king of Upper Egypt, whereas Biti equals king of Lower Egypt and has never meant just king. In other words, king of Lower and Upper Egypt, king of all Egypt. A faulty reading that takes the hieroglyphic signs in the visible order above, which must have occurred at one time or another, would give Sutan greater than Sudan. Now we understand better why the Egyptian turns toward the south, the heart of Africa, land of his origins, land of his ancestors, land of the gods, just as the Muslim today turns toward Mecca. This is why the right hand designates the west and the left hand the east. It is not as Edward Neville assumed, due to a march toward the south, supposing a northern origin of the ancient Egyptians. The Egyptian gods themselves, the god men in particular, were making this symbolic return to the south. The god has taken out and carried for some time toward the south, and then he was returned to his sanctuary. The texts on the pyramids preserve the memory of the terrible storms of equatorial Africa at the time when the tribes that were to make up the Egyptian people had not yet penetrated deeply into the Nile Valley. The sky melts into the water, where the heavens speak and the earth trembles. says the Pyramid of Unis. The Egyptians supposed that thunder was the voice of heaven, whence in the Coptic language, the voice of heaven, the voice of iron ceiling, meaning heaven, Memphite dialect. Note that in Syr, a Sinhalese language, Rogue equals the celestial god whose voice is thunder. In Egypt, it almost never rains. And that's where we end chapter 3 or 4, and we will go into part 2 of civilization or barbarism. I'm your real Riley. Hi,